Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning in. So today there's a little bit of something to celebrate about because I finally made it past 150 subscribers, and I'm super excited and proud about that because when I had the idea of starting off a channel, I was a bit scared because I'm a really shy person. I don't like to be in front of people, and I was thinking that nobody would care about what I have to say and all that. But to my big surprise, I've been having so much fun doing this regardless of who watches or not. And so for me to know that there's people out there who enjoy my content is kind of like the icing on the cake, and I'm really grateful for that. So thank you for being there, and I hope that I can continue to grow and put better content out there. So with that said, let's get to the actual book review. And the book that I'm going to be reviewing today is a book that takes us all the way to Ghana, and it's called His Only Wife. There it is. So what is the story about? So as I told you, the story is set in modern day Ghana, and it's centered around a young girl who goes by the name of Afi. And Afi comes from a very humble background. This woman who is known as Auntie in their village or small town, this woman has been giving them a lot of help to go by, right? And so much that they don't even know where they would have been if it wasn't for this woman's help. So with that said, they're very grateful for that, and they, really respect her and everything. And that woman, Auntie, takes Afi's mom and tells her that I want your daughter to marry my son. And when you read between the lines, she doesn't say it explicitly, but when you read between the lines, she's obviously saying that, I've been helping you and your daughter for so long. Now I want my son to be married, and I chose your daughter, and you're gonna accept that because you have to repay me for everything that I've done for you. So that's how the mother ends up agreeing, and then that's how Afi finds herself into a bit of an arranged marriage. But the thing is that Auntie actually had a bit of an agenda. So her son, Eli, has been dating this Liberian woman for quite some time. And she accuses the Liberian woman to be like an unfit mother because she has a kid with Eli. She's not a good mom. Ever since Eli started dating her, I don't even get to have the same access to my son. He's barely with the family anymore. He's changed. She's even accusing her of doing witchcraft and that kind of stuff. So she really does not approve of her. And the rest of the family doesn't seem to like that woman either. And so her idea is that if I get my son to marry her, then he'll have to tend to her because that's his wife, and the other one is the girlfriend. So the attention will be shifted from the Liberian woman to his new wife. So that's what she had in mind when she chose to make Afi marry her son. Because following the marriage, the wedding, Afi moves to Accra and is sent in this huge, nice apartment, luxury everywhere. She has a car, a driver to drive her around. She has anything that she could have she'd never had access for where she comes from. And she understands that the marriage that she's in was a bit of a mission that she was sent on to really bring Eli back to his family. But how was she supposed to do that if she barely sees him, right? She also quickly realizes that the Liberian woman is there to stay. So she is not someone that she could get rid of easily, right? So then she has to navigate that aspect of her relationship. So really it's Afi trying to sort of figure out this whole thing, this huge knot that she's in. And we follow her journey as she finds herself throughout all of that. So I have to say that for one, when I was reading this book, especially as when we go to the part where she's actually in Accra, I was thinking, okay, so now that she's the wife, who is the side chick? Because on one end, you could say that the Liberian woman is the side chick because she's not married, and Afi is the actual official wife, right? But at the same time, I feel Afi came after the Liberian was already there, so she could be the side chick too. So I feel if they were to confront each other, they would just point at each other and call each other side chicks. So that's the first thing that sort of made me laugh about the book. But with that said, I found that even though the book was not necessarily the most exciting read per se, it's a book that I still really enjoyed because I feel before you know it, you really get into the story. So the way that I can compare my experience reading this book is how, for example, sometimes you're flipping through the channel and you don't really know what to watch. You stop at a movie, you watch it without thinking much of it, and by the time before you know it, you're super into it and you're invested in the characters. So that was my experience reading the book. I picked it up really randomly. It was a random purchase on Amazon, and and sorry, I know I'm not supposed to use Amazon for books, but it was just a random purchase. And then I started reading it, and next thing you know, I was super triggered by the characters and annoyed by some characters. So the book really has that ability to do that for you. And I love that the way that the book is written has some really witty undertones. And I'm not Ghanaian myself, but I really like that you get a little bit of a glimpse of aspects of their culture, how they call each other, the way that they speak in the dialogue. So I really like to have a bit of a glimpse of Ghana throughout that book. That's always fun for me when I read books from places that I haven't been to before. So that was really cool. With that said, I found that the characters were very relatable. I couldn't relate to Afi in the sense that, I wouldn't be acting the way that she was acting, but I feel like we all know someone who is somewhat like Afi, or someone who is somewhat like Auntie, like the mother-in-law from hell. So I think that, I feel like when you read this book, even though it's a different culture and it could be a bit of an exaggerated version of what you have seen, you can see things that you might have seen in your entourage or that you might have experienced yourself too. So going back to the characters, right? The character that triggered me the most is Auntie, and she reminds me of Stephanie Forrester from The Bold and the Beautiful. I'm sure that some family members, your grandma or something, must have watched that show at some point. But if you're not familiar with her, she is the matriarch of a family, and she is overly invested in her favorite son's relationships. And she's always like plotting things to make sure that he leaves the woman she doesn't like and gets closer to the woman she approves of. So she really has like a control thing. And that's how I see Auntie, the mother-in-law from hell who never cut the cord and is overly invested in her son's love life. And so that's why I didn't really like her. And I've seen many aunties in my real life as well, so maybe that's why it triggered me so much. But I feel like Auntie also represents, in a lot of ways, how some women could be sort of enforcing certain behaviors from men because they don't hold them as accountable, and they stay treating them like kids, and so that's how they act like kids. Because the truth is that as you read the book, Eli is not super responsible, you know what I mean? Like, yes, he provides, but like he knows the situation that he's in. But I feel like he's like, the way that his mom seems to have brought him up, there's not much responsibility that he ever had to carry, right? And on the other hand, I feel like Afi has been brought up to be responsible in the sense that as soon as she was in that house, she was like, okay, I need to keep my husband, I need to win him over, so I need to cook his favorite food. So she was going above and beyond in that relationship without getting what she actually truly wanted and needed, which was his affection and his attention. She wasn't really getting that from him for a long time in the book. So the book really makes you think about like a lot of marriages, specifically older marriages, where there was much more pressure to stay with the man and stay within a union, where women will go above and beyond, and then the man could get away with doing the bare minimum because the narrative was about how she's supposed to keep him, not how he's supposed to also keep her and make her happy. So I definitely see a lot of that in the book. It was a bit cringy for me to watch Afi going above and beyond like that to win his affection, because for me, like, affection is like the bare minimum in a marriage, right? So yeah, the book definitely touches upon that type of injustice in the upbringing of both men and women and what they're expected to provide in the marriage, and what is expected for them to behave like. And another thing that I also realized, well, not realized, but I noticed in the book is that as Afi is married to this wealthy man, has this wealthy life, she kind of jumps in a different social class, right? So she becomes very wealthy, and when you come from the bottom and you move up, there's a lot of people behind you that depend on you, and that's pretty much what Afi's experiencing. And so in the process, there's a lot of people who are not, it's like they don't care about Afi as a person anymore so much, but care more about what she can do for them and what she can bring to them. So Afi became sort of like the paycheck, and nobody really seemed to care about her happiness. It was really more about what she can do for them. And that's a pretty crappy situation to be in. And it's not an easy one to navigate because, I think there's a line where she says that, I'm not happy with the situation, but without my family, I'm nobody, right? So we all, most of us who are lucky enough, love our families, right? But at the same time, boundaries are important. And I think this is something that Afi will have to face, throughout that story. So going back to what I was saying about like the how women can be enforcing certain aspects of misogyny, it's that even when Afi was expressing to her mom that she wasn't super happy in that relationship, her mom was like saying to her like, well, he's providing, what do you want more? It's like even the things that made her unhappy, like, I don't take away the fact that Eli is able to, you know, provide for her, but I feel like the fact that there was something that was missing that she wished she could have, I feel like nobody seemed to care about that. It was more about the fact, like, well, be happy that he's there, you know? So I found that there's often that narrative that you see for a lot of women around the world, really not just in this context of Ghana, where, you know, women have to put up with a lot, and again, they can do the bare minimum. So anyways, I really love that the book sort of highlights that and highlights the different aspects of marriage and the injustices and the double standards. So the theme is mostly centered around marriage, but, you know, there's a lot to see in that book. Another thing that I really appreciated in this story is the way that you see how a lot of times when a woman chooses herself and her happiness, it'll come with resistance from the outside, right? So for example, there's this character who goes by the name of Evelyn, and she's been pretty much doing her thing. She wasn't like following the how do you say, like, she didn't drink the Kool-Aid. She was kind of doing her thing, and a lot of people kind of judge her for that. They're like, okay, well, she's 30, she's not married and all that, but Evelyn is happy with her choices. And then on the flip side, you know, you have Afi, where people around her seem to approve of her, but inside she's not happy with what situation that she was in. And so sometimes it kind of feels like, as a woman, you either have to choose approval or your own happiness, right? And which one do you pick? And it's hard to pick yourself when you've been socialized to be pleasing to everyone. So I really loved the fact that you have these two characters that you can easily make parallels with. So overall, again, it was a fun story to read. Definitely not something that you can read as you relax, because it's not a book that has like too many crazy things happening. So it's a really relaxing book that you can read when you're chilling at home, before bed, or at the beach or whatever. So really cool read, very nicely done for the debut author. And if you read it, please let me know, because I would love to talk about it with you. If not, I hope that you give it a try. It was fun. And with that said, thanks again, by the way, for getting me to 150 subscribers. And that's it for me for this video. I hope that you're enjoying your day. I hope that you're still enjoying the summer. I have been enjoying it. I feel like I'm a bit tan right now. But with that said, again, that's it for me, and I will see you next time.